Okay.
Jesus, are you still awake? I'm like super tired.
Late.
Alright,
Can't
so,
breathe with this thing on my face. Okay, good.
well, welcome to our talk about Hoodie. My name is Jan, I'm a developer.
I'm Alex, I'm also a developer. And we are also Gregor, who's in there, he's in a Google Hangout.
Hi Gregor. And he's also in our hearts. With us here on stage today.
No.
Oh, we'd like to know what you a little bit. Who here is a front-end developer? That's a trick question.
Who is also a back-end developer?
Oh, who's a both-end developer?
Who would like to do less back-end work?
Alright, this talk is for everybody on the front end and everybody who just raised their hand. There could be a little bit more of those. Anyway, let's go. We love building apps. We are super excited about the ecosystem that browsers give us today. All the new APIs that are coming out every week, like the latest crazy shit with WebRTC, where you can do Skype but in the browser, completely blows my mind. All the developer tools that we're getting, and then all the libraries on top of this, all the stuff that we've seen before, all the things that we can learn about how to build large-scale front-end apps using things like MVC or using tools like Angular and other stuff. And this is just an amazing place to be in, and it allows us to build the things that we have in our mind and realize them into apps and give them to our users really, really quickly. And it's amazing, and we love that, and we hope you love that too. The caveat, though, is that you always need some sort of server component. And, well, the least thing you need is like a static file server, but that is not very troublesome. But if you want to do something more heavyweight, you need some like backend component. And that means you need to start thinking about Linux servers, about EC2, about sysadmins. Maybe you know about Heroku, that's great, but also expensive. And that's all really annoying. This is a very painful world. So we want to leave that behind. What if we could focus on the front end, just do 100% front end work? Wouldn't it be amazing if I could? Because web technologies are so amazing and they are so rapid. Prototyping is actually building apps. Like we don't prototype and then build apps, we just build the app and it's fast. How would it be if I could write an app in a weekend and start charging on Monday? Wouldn't that be great? And I would also like that this is all as simple as using jQuery and just takes a minute to set up. I really want that. And I think we can do that.
Okay, so to show you, we're not going to talk about it anymore, we're just going to actually show you. So what I'm going to try to do is actually, in 10 minutes, write some logic for an app, live in console. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so what does it look like? It looks nice. Okay. What this is basically a template for a to-do list. There's a list with nothing in it, there's an add task form, there's a sign-in thing, and there is no logic in here. We're loading some libraries, we're loading Modernizer for some reason. jQuery, we're loading the Hoodie library, and we're loading some plugins from what's called Bootstrap. And that's it. There's no other application logic that belongs to this. Okay, it's just HTML. And we want to make this work. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to actually write the first 2 lines of code, and the rest going to be copy and paste, so you don't have to watch me typing stuff. So, wait, saw that right? It's just a sign-up form. So let's make this work. And when I say make this work, make it work completely, so you can sign up users for your app and you're done.
So what you've seen, it's a markup form. It's just like there's no functionality behind it.
Okay, I'll try to calm down. I had a rough go. Like the game. So, first of all...
No, that needs to be bigger.
That needs to be bigger. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is that big enough for the people in the back?
Could be bigger.
Could be bigger. Oh, no, come on, that's the graphic design is for this. Hoodie, it's no Hoodie. It's a new Hoodie. So first of all, before you can start using Hoodie, you have to instantiate it, and instantiating means you have to tell it where its API endpoint is. What this means is something that Jan will explain at the end, because for now it's not that interesting. But that's basically all you do. You instantiate it really. So now let's do some relatively boring JavaScript stuff, which I'm going to copy and paste. So we want to have a click event on this button over here, the sign up button, and we want to get the email and the password. We're not going to validate anything because we're lazy. And then we're going to sign up the user. And all we have to do really with Hoodie is spell correctly, yes, sign up. And as you'd expect, the sign up method expects exactly two things: username and password. And when we're done, we want to do some tidying up of the UI. We want to close line breaks. We want to close the modal because we don't need it anymore, so that's the modal. This is Bootstrap, just in case you're wondering where this all comes from. And we want to display a small welcome message for our newly logged in, signed up and signed in user.
Right, so you can see this is basically boilerplate jQuery stuff that you would use with any app, and then there's some Hoodie magic going on here that we'll share a little bit.
There's actually one interesting line, but the rest is more fluff. I'm sorry. Hoodie account username. Right, am I making any mistakes?
Looks good.
Let's try it. Okay, so now we sign in. Hey. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sign up. Hey, sweet, nice. And that's actually it. So now in your database, there is a user. You're done. That's it. That's all you have to do. If you want to sign the user out, that's one line of code. If you want to sign him back in, it's one line of code. If you want to resend the password, it's one line of code.
Like they all look alike. Username, password, like nothing magic to it.
Yeah. So
is it a prototype or productive?
What?
Later. Questions later.
Questions later now, then mind-blowing, then questions. Let's make the rest work. It's not that much harder. So, getting ahead of myself. Button down there, submit button, we want that text to go in there. So, wait, I can actually recycle what I just used, because I'm a terribly lazy person. So this is not sign up, this is task, right? And we're getting a description for task.
This is what I mean with building an app in a weekend. We'll just copy and paste some shit.
Yeah. So what do we want to do with it? We want to store it. So we tell Hoodie to store, or the Hoodie store to add something. What are we adding? We're adding a task. So Hoodie store add takes two arguments. It takes a type, which is task, and it takes the actual data, which is just a JSON object. And in this case, it's a very small JSON object. That's it. That's going to work. That's going to save stuff in the user database, and you can get it later. And you'll see I haven't gone and defined what a task is anywhere. It's all document-based. You don't have to write a schema. You don't have to set up any tables or anything. You just throw JSON at it, and it'll work. So that's pretty convenient. So the button's going to work now, but the view's not going to update. So we could update the view by hand in the click handler, which would be rubbish, or we could properly wait for the server to say, hey, I saved the thing, update the view. But Hoodie is clever in this respect because it saves all the data locally first and then syncs it in the background later, which means you can save it now, wait for the event, listen directly to that. So it's asynchronous, but it's also instant. That's really cool. So you can do something like this.
I have a nice diagram later that
walks
walks you through it again.
The diagrams get great. So let's listen to the event from the store when we save something. Okay, so Hoodie store on, this is like jQuery, nothing very surprising. And there's a syntax here, we're listening to an add event, and then we specify what type of object we're listening to, that's task. And then we just specify what's going to happen. We get like a task. And yeah, we just find the list thingy. What do they call it? Task list, I think?
I don't know.
And append a new list item.
I do know.
Too late now. got the time. Right. And this is a task, and we want the description for the task. So let's just test it. That's all it was. Thanks. Great. Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
What
What have I done?
Missing chord here.
Oh yeah.
Missing chord here.
Oh yeah.
No.
Learning JavaScript. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of code. Let's save something. Hello. Right, now one last trick. So we've done user management, we've done adding stuff, and we've done listening to an event. So let's do one more step, which is basically when a logged in user comes back, we want to pre-populate the list with all of the stuff they've already saved previously. So I'm going to show you one more Hoodie method, and I'm not going to type this. So what we're doing here is we're asking the store to find all objects of type task. When it's got them, we empty the task list, we iterate for each task, and simply append it to the task list. Now you just saw that this absolutely nothing thing just vanished, because that was actually part of the template, not part of the data. So 5 lines to pre-populate your app with data. And just to prove that this works, I'm going to reload, and that destroys all the logic we just wrote. Just going to get this one line back, instantiate Hoodie, get this back, bam. That's not very much code. It doesn't really get much simpler than that. Okay, and that's, I think, did I forget anything? I think that's a demo, actually.
That sounds right. So, like, we hope, like, you don't know the magic behind this, which I'm going to explain in a bit, but I hope you like this already. Is this cool? Yeah. All right. We worked on this on and off since last May, like not as a job or anything, but on the side. And a couple of weeks ago, we pulled it all together. There's a lot that goes into Hoodie, and there were a lot of moving parts. But we were in a little room on the corner there, and Gregor was here, and we were coding for a week. And towards the end, we got it all together running for the first time, like the full experience that we dreamed up a year ago. And that. You totally have to meet Gregor. He's like that all the time, but like we were really excited about this. So yeah, that was a good time. So now, what do we have next? A blank slate. I'm going to explain the magic now. And we start very easy with the front end, because we love front end, but there's also a back end, which I need to explain because it does magic for us. And in the front end, we start at the local storage level. That's a database built into every browser, basically. Some people like it, some people hate it. It's fine, we love it. We use local storage. And then Hoodie has the Hoodie store that you've already seen in the demo. And that's a very thin layer. If you want to chat, you can chat outside. Thanks. A very thin layer on top of local storage. And on top of that sits your app. Like the biggest box on this diagram is your app, because that's the most important stuff. Hoodie tries to stay out of the way. You can use whatever library you want on top of Hoodie. If you want to chat, you can chat outside. I mean it. Thank you. The app is the most important thing. You can use any front-end technology with Hoodie. We don't force you into Ember, background jQuery. It doesn't really matter to us. We give you a very thin layer to interact with. And then Hoodie Store defines a bunch of convenience methods for you. You already saw add and find all, and there's a few more. And they interact with the Hoodie Store, and the Hoodie Store interacts with local storage then. Alex already showed you the event listening, so we can update our UI asynchronously when our data store changes, but we don't actually have to wait for the backend because we currently don't have any backend. So the Hoodie Store also gives you an on event handler, and then whenever there's any action going into the Hoodie Store, it checks if there's any event listeners for you for your event, and then your app can know when stuff happens. in the storage layer. The nice thing about this, I repeat this, there's no backend here. Like once this is all shipped to the client, there's just a fully, like it's a database for your browser that's really easy to use and very convenient. The nice thing about this is you can start building apps like this. If you're in an environment that has a very spotty network connection, say you're in a train on a phone, or you're on the subway, like in the U8 or something, like some of you may have come with the U8 and didn't have any connections there. If you're on the U1, that's all good, but even better has spots. So you don't actually, like, you can have a full app and interact with it without actually having to have a network connection. And not having to have a network connection is always good for the user experience because you never wait for any servers. It's a really cool thing. Let me check if there's another thing I want to say here. Yeah, we call this behavior offline by default. And then we have another thing over here. We call this sync. This is internally Thomas, the little sync engine. And it uses the same mechanisms that we give the app interacting with the data store, but it mostly hooks into the events there. And whenever you change something in Hoodie store and you already have a signed up logged in user, the sync engine can talk to a REST server to actually process stuff on the back end. So you can, like, people can switch devices and you can close your browser and can open things in another browser, I guess. And this is actually like this is the core of Hoodie, this little sync engine. So yeah, we could think about the task list again from earlier. We're creating a task list item with the add method over here. It goes to the Hoodie store. The Hoodie store puts it in the local storage. Hoodie store also notifies us that we can update our UI. And then Hoodie store notifies the sync engine to send it to the server. So far it's so easy, I think. That REST server is CouchDB. Hoodie actually doesn't care what this is, but we're using CouchDB for a number of reasons. Actually, CouchDB is designed about providing a sync service, synchronization, replication, all that kind of stuff. And we're not smart enough to do synchronization, so we rather use a different project that also has spent over half a decade solving synchronization, doing that really, really well. Hoodie only uses CouchDB and actually Sigma. We didn't invent any of that. Luckily, one of the guys that works on Hoodie also works on CouchDB. So whenever there's something that we need in CouchDB, we can go really like, hey, Gregor found a bunch of bugs, for example, and we needed a course like cross-origin resource scripting thingies in CouchDB, and I wrote that on the side. So there's features going into Couch because of Hoodie, which is nice. But Hoodie itself, the idea that we want to get you excited about is that you can write everything in the front, write everything in the front end, doesn't care what's in the back end. So we just use it because it's the best tool. Also, it's a really great database, stores your data really securely and safely, so we like that. It does HTTP by default, that's really nice. It is a document database, so you don't have to define any schemas, things that I already mentioned, but you can just start storing JSON. It's really nice. And then finally, and that's where most of the magic that actually, it's kind of hard to say, there's so much magic, is a thing called modules that do specific tasks that every backend needs. Kind of think like 10 years back, or how many years back, when Rails came out, and then, hey, we have these modules that do common things that everybody needs, and we just specify, like, make specializations of that, and add in our email text, or put in our whatever, like all the common tasks, like just do them for us, and that's our modules. You shouldn't write in like user sign-up system for your front-end app. We've got that for you. What we didn't show is when you create a user in the front end, that user actually gets sent an email. And they need to verify their account if you want that, and then they get the account is activated, the front end gets to know about that. It's all done like that. We've got sharing. If you know Google Docs and the different sharing options you have, I have a data item and I need to share that with you, but not you, and then I can specify that. Or I have a stream of photos that I want everybody to see, I can specify that as well. Sharing does that for us. Like sending emails. Payments is the next big to-do that we're going to do, so that when you fire it all up, you're already putting a Stripe account, and if we get around to it to put up our Stripe account, we can just reset Stripe to you, so you don't even have to have a Stripe account, but that's down the road a little bit. And that's all written in Node.js. We like JavaScript. Node is all like It's all JavaScript. The whole stack is JavaScript. So while you don't actually should be doing anything in the backend, if you want to write your own module, that's really easy. You don't even have to switch languages. It's all well documented, I hope, and up to date. So building more interactions with other web services to multi-service login, interact with the GitHub API, maybe do something with Travis. Like everything that has an API can have a module, and then through the module you can give it a front-end API as well. Let's go, like we went through how to create a task list item. Let's do how to create a user again. We do the sign up. There's a special API for sign up here, so there's a bit of convenience coding here that we did for you. But that code only does Hoodie add, creates a new document or a new object of the type user, puts it into Hoodie store puts it into local storage or Hoodie store tells the sync engine to send it to CouchDB. CouchDB receives it. The users worker over here listens to changes on CouchDB. CouchDB has a similar mechanism here. And then sees, oh, here's a request for creating a new user. And then it creates new databases in CouchDB. It sets up the right password and the permissions, everything you need to do that. And then it updates the user document or the user object. And here it says, this person has now everything set up. And then the sync engine takes it back to Hoodie store puts it in local storage, and Hoodie has the app, and the app knows, hey, that user is there now. And if you notice, that sounded a lot like when we stored the task list item. And actually everything else works that way as well. That's the main chain of events that go through the backend and the front end. And we actually want you only to care about this. If you're writing modules, you need a little bit more, but you don't even have to worry about CouchDB at all. That's a really nice abstraction here for you as well. I think that's everything on that particular point. So this is full stack JavaScript. Your data is always JSON or native JavaScript, so no need to convert anything. It's really nice, really solid. For the module system and everything else, like utility stuff, we're using Node and NPM. NPM is really great has a really great development environment. Like NPM is awesome. If you don't agree, I don't know who I'm talking to. And for now, if you want to run this live, we have made it really easy to deploy it to Node.js, which is kind of like Heroku, but for Node.js stuff. We want to add other people as well, or other services as well. But that's for now how the backend works. So, well, we said there's a lot more in Hoodie. So let's see how that works. Is that mine?
Yeah, that's
mine. Sweet. So I want to show you how to get Hoodie running on your system. This is not specific to Hoodie. It's like just an installer thingy here. For now, this is tailored to Mac OS. We have a pull request going for Linux. Windows is kind of not supported for now, but that is not Hoodie inherent. Like Hoodie itself, the infrastructure can support any system, but like the getting started for the developer, for you people, that's Mac only for now. But don't worry about that. We're just using Homebrew. Who uses Mac ports? Stop using Homebrew. Sorry. If Mac ports works for you, that's amazing. That's great. If you have trouble with that, switch to Homebrew. So what we're doing here is brew install Hoodie. Bit of warnings. Computer's out of date, but it doesn't matter. Okay. All done. Hoodie 1.0 installed. So I tricked you a little bit here. Hoodie isn't in Homebrew yet, so what you really need to type is Hoodie installation. You get YAML Hoodie, Yanni Homebrew, YAML Homebrew, something long URL that you see in the README that you'll see later. But this is what it's going to be very soon when the Homebrew people accept our Homebrew request. So let's see. This is an empty. There's my fake Homebrew. Ignore that. Installing Hoodie. We have a new command line tool here that's really simple. It's called Hoodie. It's really nice. I really want to make it Who, but that's too obscure. There's actually a thing called Who, so I can't use it. And we want to create a new app. I want to show you how easy it is to create a new app. So we call it the app.js, because this is a JS media. And let's run this. Also crossing fingers for Wi-Fi gods. What this does, it checks out from GitHub and NPM a bunch of modules that set up all the dependencies for your Hoodie app. Don't worry, like if you've done Node, this is familiar to you. If you haven't done Node, you're like, oh my god, there's so many dependencies. This is what Gem